Welcome to Successful Living with Bill Napick. Every week we talk about success and everything that goes along with it. You'll learn the principles of success, how to achieve success, and learn to overcome challenges that may be getting in the way of success in your life. You'll hear from Bill Napick, a radio personality and business development expert, along with insight from special guests. If you're ready to find your path to success or take the success you're enjoying to the next level, stay tuned. Successful Living with Bill Napick is on right now.
Here we are, Successful Living with Bill Napick, and today, Successful Living with Christy Stratton. She is a coach, a professional speaker, and so much more. In fact, she's going to tell us about one of the new big things in her life that we're all going to benefit from. Christy, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Bill. I'm glad to be back.
So much to talk about today.
I know. I'm so excited.
How do we even start?
Well, we'll just lead up to the big announcement.
All right. So as we say that, again, as a coach, you're doing so many things to help people. And the announcement that's coming up, you're going to even help people in an incredible way. So what's the latest right now with your coaching? And even you have a book in the works, but I don't know how far. You've been kind of busy, I'm guessing.
Just a little bit. You know, when you get an opportunity to really step into what you've been working for years and years and years and years, it requires a lot of you. And, you know, I've been teaching for going on 7.5 years now in the real estate industry, specializing in coaching. And, you know, that has been wonderful and that has been great. But my heart has always been around coaching, speaking, and you said helping. And we kind of call it the helping professions, right? I knew at a very, very young age I wanted to do this. It just took me a long time to get here. And so as an accredited coach with the International Coach Federation, I get to work in an industry that I've been in for a very, very long time, real estate, and helping real estate agents, brokers, different people in the business, builders, developers, move forward in their business. But I'm getting to finally specialize in something that's been near and dear to my heart, which is divorce coaching.
What dawns on me about divorce is a couple things. Right away, it's a numbers thing, and that is we are in the 4th largest city in the United States, they say. Some people even say it's soon to be or is the 3rd largest city. So just
Right.
the numbers there are so many people that have gone through divorce, going through divorce. So,
Including myself.
And I've been through it. Not going to say how many times, but I've been through it as well. And that's a tough time, whatever stage of that process that you are in. So a very timely thing to be focusing on.
Well, I think it's always timely, but I'll tell you, when I started in towards this path with coaching and stepping out of the corporate world, you know, divorce coaching didn't exist. Attorneys existed, mental health professionals existed, all, you know, those professions existed. But there really wasn't a market for divorce coaching. And so I went back to my industry that I've been working in. And, you know, lo and behold, now the divorce world, what you kind of hate saying that at the same time that there is divorce. But it's opened up to where it's more of there's so many people wanting to help people move forward through this season of life that, yes, can be quite treacherous. I say this often. I don't think anyone ever gets married to get divorced.
We would hope not.
I don't think so.
And if
right?
there is, I wouldn't want to marry that person.
Right.
So,
right. I didn't. I went in with high hopes.
Exactly.
You know, thinking I was marrying right. And unfortunately, it didn't work out. I was younger, you know, all sorts of things. But, you know, then the path was to, you know, you're trying to figure out what to do. I went to my counselor. You know, a lot of people go to their pastor. I did that as well. But you eventually end up in an attorney's office, and there's really not a thinking partner with you as to should I or shouldn't I, or what are the alternatives, looking at it eyes wide open. And now this divorce coaching role is really a thinking partner for someone in considering, am I going to go down this path or am I not? So kind of looking at it eyes wide open. If, you know, I kind of say, where was I 11 years ago to help me? Right?
Well, you bring up one component of it, and that is someone that may be thinking to divorce or not to divorce.
That's exactly
you
it.
have that aspect. Then you have someone that's made that decision, or the decision was made for them,
Right.
and then they say, how do I cope?
How do I do
go
this?
forward?
How do I move forward?
So there's so many things. So that's why you need a little bit of help. And another thing, generally speaking, that just dawned on me about coaching in general. When we are little, I'm talking about little as in little league, or someone dancing, or even piano lessons for a youngster. Coaching begins, we are exposed to coaching a lot when we're young, when we need training, or when we think we need that training to learn something like that. But somewhere down the line, maybe after college or something, that fades off. One of the things to emphasize today in divorce coaching, or coaching in general, is that we still need coaches, or it's a good idea to have a coach later in life as we get older, I think.
Absolutely, and you'll hear a lot of people who support coaching, and even voice coaches, business coaches, executive coaches. The little nuance, though, as a coach and as an International Coach Federation accredited coach, a lot of people think we're there to tell you what to do, give you advice. We don't give advice. We actually believe that the client is a whole person, creative and resourceful, so that we help them look at different perspectives. We believe that they have the answers. They just need a thinking partner, somebody to walk the path with them. When you're in overwhelm of a divorce, you can't think straight. So you need somebody to, one, listen, and a good coach listens about 90% of the time. Second, maybe point out different perspectives, help them explore options that they may not even know exist, provide them resources, that sort of thing. One thing we don't do as divorce coaches, we don't give advice, and specifically legal advice, right? So we work with a group, mental health professionals to attorneys and financial planners who are specializing in divorce, and just the whole bevy of the whole process. So, it really helps the person walk that path with, and I keep repeating it, but it's so important. I think back, eyes wide open. I think my eyes weren't wide open at all. They were just kind of like, oh my gosh, what am I going through, right? But when you can see what's ahead, I didn't know what was ahead. And so many people don't know what's ahead. I think you can make better decisions.
The other component of divorce is the timing. Timing is a big part of everything in life, and going through it in your 20s, 30s, 40s, and beyond, you're looking at it in a different way.
True.
It's going to affect you in a different way, maybe more intense, maybe not, whatever it is. So it's a fascinating study, and it's indeed an area that people need some help. And even when they don't need maybe help to get through it, they need the knowledge and to hear ideas, and you're going to be bringing that forth. And let's tell them the venue and how that's going to all play out, because this is really an announcement, and we'll tell people if they don't already know. This is 1070 AM Houston, and in this same radio family, 100.7 FM is a sister station, and there's even a business station, 1110. And I'm on both of those stations, 100.7 FM, 1070 AM. So that's great. And you're going to have a show. I don't have a drum.
I know. Should we do a
could do
little drum roll?
There it is. We're doing it on the table. So you're going to have a show. Let's tell them about that.
I am, yes. And it's going to be called the Divorce Coaching Hour with Christy Stratton.
And let's say that again.
The Divorce Coaching Hour with Christy Stratton. Going to be Saturdays, 100.7 KKHT from 1 to 2 p.m. But before we go any further with that, I want to say thank you, because this would not be happening without you and our friends over at the Real Estate Rat Pack as well. I've been coming into your show. I've been coming into their show for years. Yours most recently, and I know we've known each other, well, a couple years now, since Harvey. I know, that's not a good memory.
And we've had a lot of rain this week.
Yes, we have.
I don't even like to think about it.
I know. None of us want that for anyone.
That's going to be my next show is going to be flood coaching. So, yeah. because we're talking about two traumatic
flood coaching.
things.
Yeah.
Oh,
well,
no.
you know, it's grief. There's a client of mine who we actually started working outside of divorce. We started working together with regards to a new business opportunity for her. And in the midst, she was flooded with Harvey. And so we actually walked through that. So, you know, one of the things you mentioned in my book, and my book is called From Rebel to Roses, and it's a lot of the same kind of concept, growing through the losses of life. And, you know, divorce can be a loss. Flooding can be a loss. And where we want to come in and serve and help and support from the helping professions is, like I said, again, be that thinking partner. It's an amazing way to describe what we do. Now, going back to talking about a coach, we're not out there barking orders like some coaches might be, right? The best coaches out there, Bill Belichick, all those guys, they lead from lifting up, and that's really what I see as that role. But again, I want to go back and just say thank you, because if I had not been in here in the studio with you from time to time in the Real Estate Rat Pack, I don't know that this opportunity would have come about. So I appreciate that. And I will be talking about your show on my show. We'll also be including real estate topics because in divorce, we have to decide, you know, how we're splitting things up, right? And so we're going to make sure we have, you know, people who are experienced in divorces, working with folks who are divorcing and selling their real estate property. We're also going to be having someone who specializes in pets, believe it or not. And
who gets the dog?
Yeah. I mean, you have to think about all
there's
these
so many things that are
There's
part of
so
it when you
many
start peeling
things.
it back.
Yeah.
So, the Real Estate Rat Pack, I agree. Chris Kelso, Rob Cook, if you're out there listening, guys, you should. If you're not, you should be. But Chris Kelso, Rob Cook,
I'm going to be listening to them.
played an important role in me being on. And
Right.
it's interesting how spinoffs work like that.
Yeah.
And the other thing that's interesting that is you're in the process of, am still, and that is when people enjoy being on the radio, helping people through the radio, providing a platform. There's some people, and all the guests that I've gotten to talk to, there's some like you that say, I want to do it too and have my own deal. And that's exciting as well. So it's cool to have these things spin off. And you're going to have guests on your show at some point that are going to say, hey, I was on Christy's show and I want to do it too.
Yeah. You know,
It's contagious.
It is very contagious. One of my advisory partners, Gary Wolf, he's he's actually a certified divorce coach as well. And he is a financial planner. And so he works with that aspect of divorce. And I was able to share with him, I met him last year at the collaborative law group that's here in Houston. And I shared with him the other day, and he's so excited, and he's going to be one of my first guests on the show. I'm actually going to also bring in Peggotty Cooper, who is the co-owner of the certification program I've gone through, Certified Divorce Coach. She also is an accredited coach with the International Coach Federation. So it's been a perfect, just glory has to go to God, right?
It's all coming together
for a reason. And, I don't bring it back just to my story, but my story was a difficult divorce. Again, I don't know that there's any divorce that's
Some
not
are more difficult than others.
Yes.
Exactly.
And, it took me a long time to walk through it. And I know others who are going through it now. I have a divorce care ministry at my church. And, my heart is to help people not, be the one that pulls them along, but walk the path with them. And I don't have all the answers, but I can be there as, an advocate for them, a sounding board for them, somebody to lift them up when they need it, somebody to provide them resources when they're going through this big change of loss. And it's, I've been focusing, and I say I knew I wanted to do all this. I didn't know divorce when I was about 16 years old, but the last, I would guess, just about 11, 12 years, I've really been focusing in on getting to this place, and it's just amazing to be here.
It really is. And then I'm already thinking of all the topics. And
I can see it spinning.
My head's spinning. Because you've given this a lot of thought, and I'm sure you're saying the first 10 shows, we're going to do this, we're going to talk about this.
I've got them scheduled 3 months out already.
Yes, and all that. But, there are topics like divorce is one thing. Then you have multiple divorces. What about the
Right.
person that's been divorced twice?
I think you'll be on my advisory committee,
Three,
Bill.
3 times.
Not because of that, because of the
No,
ideas.
But yeah, exactly. Yeah, I have a lot of advice.
Well, and
but
also I was just talking to
Fascinating.
a young lady who actually is an intern here at the station, and when she heard about the show, her eyes kind of opened up, and she's in her 20s. And there's a lot of studies that show, and I don't like labeling people, but millennials are waiting to marry. And I heard firsthand from her. We did a little demo of the show, and it was her first on air. We really weren't on air. We were just testing things
Right,
out.
practice.
But I want to have her on the show because it was a really interesting conversation talking to a young person in her 20s about her thoughts about marriage and how social media has played a part of kind of skewing their thoughts about marriage. Isn't that wild? Yeah, it was, I'm kind of still processing it, but there's a lot of fear out there. There's a lot of people thinking, well, there's somebody else always out there, and, not really understanding. But what I did hear is someone who was really seriously looking at marriage and was open to exploring more and was talking about, oh man, I would totally want to listen to a podcast that was about, and the show is about divorce, but if you're going to talk about divorce, you have to talk about marriage, right? And so we'll have people on the show to talk about really looking at marriage, eyes wide open, and that's what I heard her talking about, because she wants to look at, okay, so here's marriage, but here's the other side of marriage is divorce. And again, I don't want to get into marriage to divorce, right? But let me think through this, and coming to somebody who works in divorce coaching can give me those thoughts. Okay, this is what could happen if I don't do this, right? So it was a very interesting conversation.
And even people in their 20s that are looking at marriage, that's one thing. But people at all ages, 60, 50.
Myself, maybe.
Whatever. People are looking
Yeah.
at marriage. And I don't know how this example goes, but you can pretty much figure it out. There's, what did they say, a 50% chance of divorce or 50% success rate in marriage?
It's a little bit lower now, first-time marriages, because the millennials, again, I'm not a fan of younger people, are waiting to marry. Right?
All right. So
now your second marriages, and I don't remember the stats. I can't keep those things in my head, but it's greater than 50%. Here's an interesting fact, though. What's on the rise are silver and gray divorces, is what they're calling them. So more of your senior years, and there you've been married 30, 40 on plus years, and all of a sudden somebody says, all right,
that's it.
I'm out of here. And then what do you do after you've spent your lifetime almost with someone? So a lot of that's happening. So and at that point, people have amassed wealth, and so that's why we need certified divorce financial
Professionals.
analysts to come in and look at that. I think that's a lot of why the collaborative law process has kind of opened up. At least that's my own opinion. And collaborative law is actually where, I jokingly say this, which really shouldn't be a joke, but there's litigation. A lot of people call that annihilation, right? There is mediation, which in the state of Texas, you must go through mediation. That's good, because that can sometimes make it a little bit easier. Collaboration is where both parties actually decide to collaborate to come out as whole people. And there's an entire process that is led by a neutral, and that neutral is a mental health professional. And that mental health professional would be, a psychiatrist, psychologist, something that is trained in the collaborative law process. They would lead that. And then both parties have an attorney who also practice collaborative law, and they bring in a financial planner who is also practiced in the collaborative law process to help everybody walk out of that as whole people. And that's where the opportunity, I think, for one, divorce coaches are coming in, because they're the kind of mindset around that is walking through it with them. But that's also, I'm guessing in some part, that's so intricate as you get into your latter years with everything you've amassed and, trusts and whatever it may be, inheritances.
Gets complicated.
Very complicated. And so you need that team with you, so you're walking out in a fair way, right?
And when we talk about whatever the rate is of a marriage success, as we look at that, I've heard someone say, would you get on a plane if you had a 50% chance of making it safely? So,
well, I guess that's one way to look at it.
I don't know who said that. I think it was Jay Leno or something. But anyway, all that said, before we want, and the other thing is you're talking about millennials and even children, divorce affects all of us in one way or another. With the last couple minutes, we're talking with Christy Stratton.
Well, that's another thing we'll be talking about, the children, because we really want our clients to be their best self in this process, and that includes being their best self for their children.
The show will be on soon. It is called the Divorce Coaching Hour with Christy Stratton. She is right here. It's going to start June 8th, Saturdays on 100.7 FM from 1 till 2 p.m. What else should we talk about before we close this out? Christy Stratton, and it's been awesome to have you on here on a regular basis all this time, and I'm very excited about your new opportunity. I will be listening.
Well, I'm glad I will be listening to your show as well. I'm encouraging everyone to listen, and I appreciate the support. I do think we'll have just fabulous guests on that will help people share the show with others too, because the bottom line is if you're in a room of people and you ask people if they are going through a divorce or been through a divorce, they know someone who's going through a divorce or anything, they're going to all raise their hands. So we've been touched by this in some way, shape, or form. And our goal with the show is to help people walk this path, eyes wide open, and come out as a whole person.
And go on with the rest of their life in a successful way. And we all need help to put all that together so that we can move forward in anything.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm just excited to be here on a Christian station too, bringing that together with my ministry of divorce care. It just couldn't be a better fit, and I'm just so excited.
So many things are coming together. The right time, the right place, the idea. It is a unique show. I don't know of any other show like it, so it's going to be very special.
Very few, but not like it.
How can people reach you? Should they want to reach out to you for any of these things?
They can go to my website, very easy, ChristyStratton.com. ChristyStratton.com, or give me a call, 281-944-8043, 281-944-8043. You've trained me well.
And one more time, just for the fun of it.
281-944-8043, ChristyStratton.com.
Super awesome. Be sure to tune in June 8th, every Saturday. After that, in fact, June 8th on 100.7 FM, the Divorce Coaching Hour with Christy Stratton from 1 till 2 on 100.7 FM, The Word. Thank you, Christy Stratton. All the best to you. I'll be looking for you and listening. You've been listening to Successful Living with Bill Nampick, and today with Christy Stratton. Thank you, Christy.
Thank you, Bill.